Greetings. My name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video. Out to you because you're watching. Welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Core New Core, and anyone interested in surviving as a Pilates instructor. I have five titles today, and the first one again is another welcome to my new friends. And thank you for reaching toward me in my language. And I'm sorry I can't speak to you directly in yours. So it's up to you to get the idea. And once it's in your language, present it into that language. Por favor. Or if you please, or s'il te plaît, or language. Welcome, welcome. And then number 2 is Pilates at a tipping point. And I don't know, where are my new friends coming from? And why are they coming? I don't know. I don't know what to expect, but I'm trying to do what Pilates does and condition in preparation to be ready for whatever does happen. And then number three, the new Pilates. The new Pilates. See, anything new is interesting, right? What can be new about Pilates? Everybody already knows about Pilates. But what's potentially new about Pilates is a way of looking at it other than through the way that's been conventional. My new word, conventional. The new Pilates, see, is the new Pilates is based on reality. Not on tradition and not on studying from somebody that knew Joe. And those are all good ways to get a sense of the method. But MMP is unique because it's a theory that there's an ideal within Joe's original work based on 3 things right out of Joe's book. So this new Pilates is a Pilates that's based on a presumption of an ideal and as such establishing a target and how to hit it. The leap, number 4, the leap. The leap is about right here, is about the hips, is about the pelvis. The leap is about taking your mind where whatever it's conventionally used to thinking of as the core, the powerhouse, and the hips, and the pelvic girdle, and the pelvic floor, and all of that stuff that to me is pretty conventional, and it's a common way of looking at the body. But the uncommon way and the leap that's required to even gain any air with Michael Miller Pilates is to acknowledge the reality that the hips, that the human being can control rotational dynamic at the hips. That's the leap right there. That it's not just imagery, but it's the fact of the matter, and it's in dealing with the fact of the matter that the body is making rotational dynamic, right? What does that mean? Or how can I make use of it to survive as a Pilates instructor? And that would be helping a student know how to make use of it in their own interest of survival. Right? The core is a grip at the hips. That's such a big leap. And if you're not ready to make that leap or don't want to acknowledge that or stay in some kind of preferred zone of abstraction, there we go, preferred zone of abstraction. Thank you for allowing me to write that down. So that's the leap. The leap is about actually being willing to, being open to the imagery of Cornu tension, actually not the imagery, the fact of the physics that oppositional rotation between axes is the definition of Cornu tension. One of the 5 things I want you to know if you're a beginner and you're just getting used to this, because it's those 5 things are fundamental to this point of view. Which 5 things? 3 from Joe, 2 from me. Joe's definition, promise, and sequence, and the definition of Cornu tension, and the ideal. And then the last thing, number 5, is remember that MMP is just one view of Pilates. And there are thousands upon thousands of views. Okay? My take is that human beings create a simulation of what it's like out there in order to survive. They respond to what's out there, and they create this simulation of what it's like out there to survive. I have to have that better figured out, what I want to say about that. My number 5 was a unique view of thousands, out of thousands. So MMP is just one view of Pilates. And it's an ideal view, which makes it unique. Right? And understanding what it is for what it is allows you to hold it in relative perspective to so much of the rest of the Pilates culture that's looking at Pilates through an informed tradition. Right? Somebody that worked with Joe, and then somebody that worked with Joe, and then the lineage that follows, and then generations through that lineage. Which I think is sort of being replaced now by the presence of big money commodifying the dogma, which is scary, but natural and happens in every human endeavor. Right? So, to the extent that you get a perspective on what's unique about CT and MMP, my confidence is that it will help you survive as a Pilates instructor. And in terms of, is there a tipping point where Pilates, the whole culture might shift into a new point of view, like make that leap or that paradigm shift? I don't think that'll happen until there's enough pressure and dissatisfaction with what's being presented, to where students go looking for more. This new Pilates, part of whatever is going to be new in Pilates will be looking at Pilates from an ideal point of view, and MMP takes that perspective. I'm sure anybody can have their own ideal point of view of Pilates. So much of the structure that nurtures, what is it when it's not know that Pilates, that MMP is a unique way of looking at Pilates. It points to an experience as the target, and explains how to hit that target if you're the instructor. I'm pointing out the buoy, the light afloat on the sea that's actually attached and in place to give you a sense of where you are relative to it, right? It's this. So Michael Miller Pilates is one point of view, and there's this point of view, say yours, and 10,000 more all around. Don't underestimate human nature or your student. And like a matador holding the cape aside, empower your student with the experience. And so my concluding remark was something about what's the difference between make-believe Pilates and reality? See, there's a double stuff trade name of Pilates called Real Pilates, which is a name of a company, a studio. What makes it real? Reality. Because MMP is based on an ideal, it's easy to reach for that ideal from the reality that you're in, and have the reality that you create from your movement be ideally inspired. And so we might hope. Life can't live forever. Read between the lines. See behind the curtain. Add to and to. Direct your thinking. Geist.